Dive. This is where we take the topics you're interested in, using the sources you send us, and really getting to what's going on.
Exactly. And today we're diving headfirst into the Eurovision Song Contest 2025. Just wrapped up in Basel, Switzerland.
We've got a mix of sources this time, some news articles covering the, immediate reactions, the buzz.
And also the official Eurovision Wikipedia page, which is always packed with detail, isn't it?
It really is. So our mission here is to give you the essential lowdown. We're talking the winner, those performances everyone's discussing, and maybe some of those behind-the-scenes bits.
Okay, let's get started. So Eurovision 2025, this was the 69th edition. Quite a legacy.
69th, wow. And obviously Switzerland hosted after winning last year. Basel was the city.
And the venue was the St. Jakobshalle. Looked pretty impressive from what I saw.
Yeah. Dates for the, past diary, now semis, were May 13th and 15th, and the big grand final on Saturday, May 17th.
And the hosts. A great trio, I thought. You had Hazel Brugger.
Sandra Studer and then Michelle Hunziker joined for the final, right?
Exactly. Bringing that extra bit of star power for the main event.
And the slogans, always interesting. The Swiss one was "Welcome Home."
Yeah, a nice little nod to Switzerland hosting the very first contest back in the day.
And of course, the permanent slogan, "United by Music, always there."
Always there. Overseeing it all, Reto Peretz and Mort Stadler as executive producers.
And Martin Green directing the show. Now, participation, 37 countries started out.
Yep, 37 countries initially, with 26 making it through to the grand final.
And we saw Montenegro come back after a couple of years away.
We did, but unfortunately Moldova had to pull out, cited economic reasons and, I think, song quality concerns.
Ah, shame. Okay, the big one then. Who actually walked away with that class microphone?
That honor went to Austria. JJ with the song Wasted Love.
Wasted Love. Okay, tell us a bit more about JJ and the song. What made it stand out?
Well, JJ, that's Johannes Peach, is just 24. He's a countertenor, which is quite unusual in itself for Eurovision.
A countertenor, wow.
Yeah, and also a singer-songwriter. The song itself, Wasted Love, it's described as an operatic electro ballad.
Operatic electro ballad. That sounds intense.
It really was. Think like high soaring operatic vocals mixed with this driving electronic beat and synths. It was about unrequited love, resilience. Quite emotional.
In the staging, I heard it was pretty dramatic.
Oh yeah. Very visual. They had this image of a ship sort of tossing around in a storm, really amplified the song's themes.
And this is Austria's third win, isn't it? After 66 and 2014 with Conchita.
Exactly right. Third time lucky, or rather, third time victorious. JJ got a total of 436 points.
436, that's a solid score.
Very solid. And interestingly, won the combined vote jury and public, and also came fourth in just the televote alone. So, broad appeal.
Right, juries in public generally agreed, though maybe not perfectly aligned.
Okay.
But it wasn't just Austria making waves. Who else was up there?
Well, coming in second was Israel. Yuval Raphael with New Day Will Rise, 357 points.
Okay, second place.
But here's the really interesting part. Israel won the public televote, got a massive 297 points from the viewers at home.
Wow, so the public really loved Israel even more than Austria.
In terms of pure televoting points, yes. Big difference between the public reaction and the overall result, which included the juries. Always sparks debate that.
Definitely. Who else was in the top?
Third place went to Estonia. Tommy Cash with Espresso Macchiato, just behind Israel on 356 points. Quite a quirky electronic track.
Tommy Cash, yeah. Remember that one? And a fourth?
Fourth was Sweden. KAJ with Barabara Bastu, 321 points. Now, Sweden, remember, they were a big pre-contest favorite.
Right. They topped the OGAE fan poll, didn't they?
They did, yeah. So fourth might have felt a little disappointing for their fans, maybe.
Right.
Still a great result, though.
True. And rounding out the top five.
Italy, Lucio Corsi, Volevo essere un duro, 256 points.
Okay. Now, what about the UK? How did Remember Monday do?
Well, the UK finished 19th, 88 points in total.
19th.
And the tough part was 0 points from the public televote.
Ouch. 0 from the public. That's got to sting.
Yeah, definitely a hard result to swallow. And actually, speaking of 0 public points,
Don't tell me.
the host country, Switzerland, also got 0 points from the televote in the final.
No way. The hosts. That's brutal. Really shows how unpredictable it all is.
Absolutely. Home advantage doesn't guarantee public votes, clearly. And, beyond the scores, this year had its fair share of other talking points, controversies, notable moments.
I imagine the participation of Israel was probably the biggest one, given the context of the war in Gaza.
Without a doubt. It was highly controversial, generated a lot of strong feelings and debate.
You saw that reflected in various ways, I suppose.
Definitely. You had the Irish broadcaster, RTT, calling for a discussion about it. Over 70 former Eurovision artists actually signed an open letter asking for Israel to be removed.
70 former artists. That's significant.
It is. And there were protests reported in Basel, apparently even a disruption during Israel's performance in the final itself.
So a very tense atmosphere around their entry.
Very tense. It really puts the spotlight on how these big cultural events can't always escape, geopolitical realities.
How did the organizers respond to that side of things?
Well, the director, Martin Green, made a statement. He talked about the importance of showing that people can get along through music, calling it maybe a romantic vision, but an important one for the contest.
A difficult line to walk, for sure. Any other controversies bubbling under?
There was a bit of drama around Malta's entry. Apparently, they had to make some last-minute lyric changes due to some unspecified issue. Adds a bit of mystery, doesn't it?
Always something. But on a more positive note.
Absolutely. Loads of positives. We saw a record number of performances in native languages this year.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
And just a really wide range of musical styles, proper diversity on display.
Good to hear. And you can't discuss Eurovision without the interval acts, always a highlight.
Oh, definitely. They really pulled out the stops. Semifinal 1 kicked off with Swiss-style versions of old winners.
Nice touch.
And the interval act itself was called Made in Switzerland, done by the hosts, kind of poking fun at stereotypes. Petra Mead even showed up.
Petra Mead, Eurovision royalty.
Exactly. And then 4 singers from 2024 performed Celine Dion's '88 winner, which tied in nicely.
Ah, because Celine Dion sent a message, didn't she?
She did. A pre-recorded video for the first semi-final, celebrating the contest returning to Switzerland. Her first virtual Eurovision appearance since she shared her health news, so that felt quite special.
That's lovely. What about the second semi?
They focused on Switzerland's 4 languages, and then brought back 4 artists from the canceled 2020 contest to perform their songs.
Oh, brilliant. Giving those songs their moment finally.
Yeah, really nice gesture. And the final opened with Nemo, last year's winner, doing the Code, then the Flag Parade with remixes of Swiss hits.
Always love the Flag Parade.
Me too. Interval acts in the final included past Swiss entrants, a cool mashup from the 2024 Croatia and 2023 Finland acts.
Carrie J and Baby Lasagna.
That's the ones. And Nemo came back again to perform a new single. Loads for the fans to enjoy.
Sounds packed. Any familiar faces among the contestants themselves this year?
Yes, a couple returning artists. Justyna Stixkowska for Poland. She was first there way back in 1995.
1995. Wow. That's quite a gap.
It is. It's now the longest gap ever between Eurovision appearances, 30 years.
Incredible. And who else?
Nina Ižić from Montenegro. She was part of their entry back in 2013. So, yeah, people do come back.
Shows the pull of the contest, I guess. Okay, let's quickly touch on the voting system. Always complex.
It can seem that way, but the basics are. Each country gives points, 1 to 12, based 50-50 on a professional jury and the public televote. That's for the final.
Right, the classic dues points system.
Exactly. And now, for a few years, they've had the rest of the world vote online votes from non-participating countries, all bundled together as one extra set of points.
Ah, yes, the global audience gets a say. And the semifinals, how are qualifiers decided?
For the semis, it was purely down to the public televote to decide who went through.
Just the public.
Just the public. Well, except for San Marino. They didn't have a valid televote, so they had to use their backup jury results instead.
Always an exception. And as we said, in the final, Austria won the combined and the jury, but Israel topped the televote. Fascinating split.
Definitely. Always leads to lots of number crunching and what-ifs afterwards.
Of course. Now, beyond the stage, there's so much that goes into making this happen, isn't there? The branding, the logistics.
Oh, absolutely massive operation. The theme art this year was called Unity Shapes Love. Used these little Eurovision heart miniatures in different colors and arrangements.
It's quite neat.
Yeah, symbolizing people coming together. And the theme music, See You Radiate, apparently had little nods to Swiss folk music in it, designed to be adaptable for future years, too.
Interesting. And the stage itself, inspired by mountains.
Swiss mountains and linguistic diversity, yeah. Big central platform reaching into the crowd, surrounded by this huge LED arch, looked very dynamic.
And they had a mascot this year. Lumo.
They did. First mascot since '92, apparently. Lumo, this little heart character with orange curly hair. Quite memorable.
Okay. And things like the semifinal draw. That's all worked out carefully, isn't it?
Very carefully. They use historical voting patterns to try and split countries up to reduce the chances of, neighbors just voting for neighbors block voting.
Right, trying to make it a bit fairer.
That's the idea. They also tweaked how they revealed the qualifiers from the semis this year, just to add a bit more suspense.
Always keeping us on our toes. And the cost must be huge.
Estimated budget was around 61 million Swiss francs. So, yeah, a major, major production.
61 million. Wow. Okay, let's zoom in on one country's journey. You looked at Norway.
Yeah, Norway's a good example. Their broadcaster, NRK, runs the Melodi Grand Prix, their national final. Huge show there.
And who won MGP this year?
A young guy called Kyle Alessandro with a song called Lighter.
Kyle Alessandro. Anything notable about him?
Well, he was only 19. That made him the youngest participant in the entire 2025 contest.
Youngest one there. Has he been involved before?
He had, actually. He was part of a group called Umami Tsunami in MGP back in 2023, so not totally new to it.
Right. And for him, getting to Eurovision was...
He described it as his biggest dream. You hear that a lot. It really means so much to these artists.
Yeah, you can imagine. How did Norway do last year? Remind me.
They finished 25th in 2024, so they were hoping for a better result this time.
And their national final, MGP, often has some familiar faces too, right?
Oh, yeah. This year, believe it or not, Bobby Sox were competing.
Bobby Sox. The winners from '85. Seriously.
Seriously. And Wigwam, who represented them in 2005, they were the running too. Shows the enduring appeal within Norway.
That's amazing. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. As the glitter settles on Basel, what are the big takeaways from this Eurovision deep dive?
I think first, Austria's win. JJ's Wasted Love. A really powerful, quite unique performance that clearly connected with both juries and, to a large extent, the public. Shows that strong vocals and emotions still cut through.
Definitely. What else?
Then you can't ignore the controversy around Israel's participation. It really highlighted how Eurovision exists in this complex space between being a celebration of music and unity and, well, reflecting the world's tensions.
Yeah, that was a major thread this year.
And finally, just the sheer spectacle and diversity. Record number of languages, all sorts of musical styles. It really is a unique snapshot of European and beyond music each year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Always surprising.
It really is. And that's what we aim for here on the deep dive, pulling out those key threads, the important moments, the interesting details from the sources you give us to give you that shortcut to being well-informed.
Exactly. So as you think back on Eurovision 2025, this mix of music, politics, national identity, staging, all of it.
Right.
What do you think it tells us about Europe right now?
That's a big question.
It is. What parts surprised you? Maybe a particular song or a result or one of those interval acts. It's always worth digging into the individual performances that caught your ear, too. There's always more to discover.